Hey guys, it's Holly. So a couple of months ago, I made a video basically explaining that, I was creating like an entirely new Lego Star Wars display, and I've been very, very excited. However, there really just wasn't that much progress for a very long time. But today I do have an update because I have quite a few shelves in my collection, with my main one being this giant Billy bookcase behind me that I absolutely love, and I'm currently in the process of sort of rejigging everything, and that's why it looks a bit bare. Besides that, I have this one shelf next to my desk, which again, I absolutely love. And then recently I bought a brand new IKEA Kallax unit and put it in my family's media room, where really I don't actually go in it all that much. It's mostly used for the dogs to watch TV with my dad, and usually they'll watch either Formula 1 races or EastEnders. So it's really not a room that I typically go in, but if I can put Lego in it and have it on display and set it up lovely, I'm on board. So I went to IKEA, I bought this Kallax unit, I built it up, and then during that time as well, I did put a backing on it. Now at first, I bought this giant piece of it wasn't plywood, I think it was MDF wood, and I stained it so that it looked really nice and it sort of had a dark wooden color to it, but then it was letting off this really weird smell of fumes. So that idea got thrown in the trash, and then I went to Spotlight and I bought a giant piece of fabric that my dad helped me staple gun to the back of it. Because ideally I want this whole thing to be relatively dust proof. I don't want to be dusting things. So that just pretty much protected the back. And then there was a ton of baskets to put old VHS tapes and I guess just additional storage at the bottom. So I've really only got the two top rows. So now that the shelf was pretty much all spread out, really now it's time to get into, I guess, just styling the shelf, because I don't just want to put the sets on the shelf. That's disappointing. Not when I know for a fact that I can have my ships in action poses on display stands and things like that. So that was my next goal for this case. Now I have tons of Star Wars sets at the moment. There are so many in my backlog. I've got Mos Eisley Cantina, I've got Anakin's Jedi Interceptor. I recently bought the Ghost, and then I bought a second Ghost, and now I've got to get rid of one of my Ghosts. I've got the 20th anniversary Slave 1, I've got the Phantom, I've got a couple of army building sets. I've just got so much that I want to build, and I've slowly been getting through it alongside pulling out sets that I had built for ages and just had nowhere to display. And the biggest example of this one is my Millennium Falcon. So like I said, I really wanted to have a lot of these ships in action poses, and the Falcon was definitely one that I had on the top of my radar, because at the current moment I don't have the UCS Falcon. Hopefully that will change very, very shortly, but even then I just don't have the space to build it. That's something that I will build when I move out one day and have my own space. For now, I want to display my first ever Millennium Falcon that I got. I love this set. I bought this from I'm Rick James Bricks ages ago during lockdown and quarantine, and pretty much I built it and then put it in a storage container so it didn't get dusty. And because of that, I really wanted to get a stand for it. So I ended up picking up the Millennium Falcon Wicket brick stand without any of the minifigure attachments or anything. They very kindly gifted this to me. I sent everything over to my grandparents' house while I was in the UK so that I could bring it home, and yeah, they were very kind to gift it to me. This stand is amazing. However, when I put the stand with the ship's too tall to fit in that unit, so instead I put it in this case. The whole thing hooks on very simply, and it just holds the whole ship up, and it has it in I guess a battle stance, and that's what I wanted. I want the ship to look like it's in action, like it's flying, and really just look a bit more interesting and dynamic, so that when you look at it, it looks more exciting. Because if I'm putting things in the media room especially, I want them to look cool. This room has posters on the wall, it's meant for watching movies. This stuff is from the movies. There's literally a New Hope poster in the wall, so I've got to make it look cool and stylized and just not Lego, in order to, I guess, make it blend in with my regular family decor. So that was the first stand that I got and I built, and I'm really happy with it. I'm just really glad to finally have my Falcon out on display. It's been a long time coming. Now, while the Falcon had feet and could have stood up on its own, I really wanted to have it in a flying pose. There's a couple of other ships as well that I feel really benefit from stands, which I definitely did pick up as well. The first one being the 20th anniversary Slave 1. However, you'll see that I haven't built the Slave one yet, so it's just the stand. But that one's gonna look great, and I'll show that off better in a future update. Another one that I had a similar thought process behind was the Mandalorian Starfighter, because that ship, I mean, it looks really cool on the box side, how it's flying, and it looks really dynamic and really cool, and just an action shot. And then it's if I put it on a shelf, it would just be really flat and take up tons of space. Whereas if I prop it up on a stand, I feel it's not gonna take up that much floor space, and I was correct, and I think it looks fantastic. I just wish I had a second Bo-Katan minifigure so that I could put her in the pilot seat. That's now a new problem that I have, is I want to have these ships on display, but I want to have the pilots in the ships but I don't have like duplicate figures of everything. What I might do is buy some of like the Mandalorian foil packs that are coming out next month, and I might put one of them inside it so that I can keep Bo-Katan separate. I mean, I'm gonna have to start army building them, aren't I? And then because of the way it's laid out as well, I'm probably going to be able to fit a couple of other sets on that shelf, which is perfect because that means that I have more storage for other sets. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like the whole plan, I think, is just to slowly take over my family's house with Lego so that I have more space for me to buy more Lego. So overall, I just feel like that was a ship that probably needed it. I mean, if I still had my Imperial Shuttle, I feel like that one as well would need one. I wish I got one for the Bad Batch, and that is on my wish list. I have like a ton of items that I'll talk about later that I want to buy in order to just like continue to upgrade this, and one of which is the Bad Batch Shuttle. But the last one I actually got is for the Razor Crest, because again, I had this ship, it was beautiful, it was built, and for the longest time, it just sort of sat on my shelf, and that was fine, but I want things to look cool, like, you know, the gist. So I bought the Razor Crest one as well. That one is pretty large. Like, I thought it wasn't quite gonna fit, and because the ship is so long, I did have to put it at an angle for this one specifically. I do wonder if, like, when I get like the acrylic covers for the front, if it will still fit. At this point, I'm not entirely sure. I hope it does. If it doesn't, again, it's probably gonna get like moved over to the Billy shelf, but I love that stand. It just sort of like hooks on. It's not even like a stud attached like a lot of the other ones are for this one. It just sort of like sits on there. That one I did buy an additional Mandalorian figure though, so I could have him piloting the ship because I thought it looks cool. I should probably put one of like my second and an additional Grogu's in there too. I should do that at some point. I've got a couple of them lying around. I just need to find them. And then lastly, I took one of my like existing Wicket brick stands that I bought from like my first order like almost a year ago at this point, and I just put the N1 Starfighter on it because I was like, why not? I mean, I don't want to have too many like Mandalorian ships. Like I want to have a bit of variety, but for now it sits in there. Like I just want to get more stuff on the shelf. I really want to add my X-Wing as well and buy like the X-Wing stand, which sort of gets on to my next point, which is the future plan for this display shelf. I mean, currently the Hogwarts Express is like sat on the top and it really doesn't blend in with the rest of the theme on the shelf, but it's still movie themed and it's a great location considering how big that set is, and I'm gonna keep it there. But there are some other things that I want to do. Firstly is get my minifigures on display. I really want to get the individual like minifigure little display cases that they've got. There's like specific ones that have like Star Wars backing where you can like select what movie it's from. I want to get an episode 1 one, and then I want to put my Queen Amidala minifigure in there for many reasons. One, Queen Amidala is very expensive. I feel like I should have sold my liver or something in order to buy that. I'm just kidding. But anyway, that minifigure is really expensive. And also the skirt takes up quite a considerable amount of space that I feel like that minifigure would look really good in one of those cases. So I want to get one of them. I want to get more of my minifigure sort of like tiered stands that I bought. I've currently got one for all my Marvel figures. Ideally, I want to get 3 so I can have 2 for just Star Wars figures and then have another one full of Marvel figures because I've only got up to like Endgame on there right now, and that's not even like with all of the MCU figures on it. Some other things I want to do is I want to get a stand for the Ghost. I mean, I feel like I don't necessarily need it right now, but that's a ship that I really love, and again, that's quite an expensive ship that I really want to showcase it off, because then I can dock it and I can put the Phantom on the back and it would look really cool. But I also think it might be like the Falcon and maybe a bit too tall, so I'm not quite in a rush for that, but I would love to get one for my Luke's X-Wing. I feel like having the X-Wing in a fighting pose with its wings completely extended, like that's gonna look absolutely sick, and that is another one that I really want to get. There are also some display cases that I want to pick up at some point for like Luke's lightsaber and like have that on display. Same for the Bespin Jewel and like all of the little Tatooine style like dioramas that they did for like May the 4th. So I've got like Tatooine Endor and the Death Star 2. I still need to get the Hoth one. I'd love to have them all in cases. I've just got this really grand plan that I am slowly working through. So thank you very much for Wicket Brick for helping me out and getting the Millennium Falcon, Mandalorian Starfighter, Slave 1 and Razor Crest stands for me. It was a major help. I'm gonna do a big order with them hopefully sometime very soon so that I can pick up some of these additional items, because I also then want to get those acrylic covers to cover everything, and that is one thing that I didn't quite think through last time. So everything sort of sat on the shelf and like can still potentially be getting dusty right now, but at least things are getting set up. It's a slow process, but I'm slowly going through it, and every time I guess like I make progress, it makes me really excited. I love seeing people's Lego collections, Lego displays, and just how they set everything up. And I think if you're gonna have a collection, I guess like I do, you've really got to be smart with how you display things and store things. So I want to set it up, I want it to look really pretty, and I want to have like the minifigures out on display and just like really showcase my stuff. stuff and make it worth it, I'd also love to put lights in it. But that's a problem for another day that I haven't quite worked out how to do, so I'm just leaving that for now. But let me know if you've picked up like any display stands or cases for your sets to put them on display. I mean, it's something that I've only recently gotten into and I've become addicted, which is not good. And if you are considering getting anything from Wicket Brick, I'll leave an affiliate link in the description down below for you to order anything. I definitely think the next step for me is getting like that little case for Queen Amidala. Like I spent a lot of money on that figure. I love her. I'm like really proud of her. I want to showcase her, but she's also very expensive that currently I put her in a Ziploc bag inside my containers. Like she's got to get out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed seeing a bit more of like my Lego collection up close and like my Lego displays, especially for like stuff outside of this room that I don't really showcase too often. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. And again, thank you to Wicket Brick for sending me those stands. It's really helped improve my display. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.